Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 134, written by Becca Lov3. An unlikely dose of grit took care of those misfits. When I was 15, a drug deal gone bad resulted in a shooting. A man lost his leg and another ended up in jail. My stepdad was a drug dealer. He sold weed, nothing hard like coke or meth as far as I know. Skipping over the specifics on who got hit or why, toward the end of this chaotic, impactful night, my biological father came to pick me up. As I climbed into the back seat of his truck, I saw a tall, towering white figure at the edge of the house we lived in. Specifically, the part of the house my bedroom was located. I barely caught a glimpse of the figure before it disappeared behind the end of the house. I was positive I was seeing things. There was no way I legitimately saw a glowing figure over 20 foot tall so bluntly in the pitch black of dead night. I had to be imagining it. The experiences I had been through that night must have made my imagination run wild. My stepdad was forced to pull a gun on the men who were trespassing. After repeatedly asking them to leave and calling 911, my stepdad pulled his shotgun from the closet and turned it on the men he faced. I feel lucky that the situation turned out the way it did that night. My stepdad faced two armed men, stood his ground and protected me, my mother, and my younger stepsister from these two trespassers, who I might add were convicted felons recently released from prison. I can't make sense of the bright figure I spotted near my bedroom. Was it my guardian angel? I felt a sense of peace when I saw it. It didn't matter what had happened that night. After seeing the figure, I knew everything would be okay, and that I was lucky to walk away from this alive. Case notes, file number 134. Do you remember the show Supernatural? In it, Castiel and all angels are described as being dramatically larger than their host body. Perhaps there's a grain of truth to this. I wonder if this figure was present throughout the entire chaotic night. Maybe he helped infuse courage into your stepdad, who isn't the type of character you'd expect to have such loyalty and boldness. I'm just glad that you ended up being safe after all. Case file number 135, written by Sad Skelly. A nightly specter offering words sweet as nectar. My parents had me when they were in their early 20s, and they did not have their own place yet. When I was 4, they got married and we moved into our own house. But before that, I lived with my mom and grandparents, her parents. Since I was very young, I used to sleep in the master bedroom in a big bed sandwiched between my mom and my grandma. My grandpa used to sleep in the spare room. Not sure why my grandma slept with us. My grandparents had a great relationship. But anyways, I vividly remember an elderly woman with curly red hair and a green dress talking to me every night. She would appear after my mom turned off all the lights and told me to sleep. This lady used to tell me to be quiet and not make any noise because my grandma and mom are very tired and they need to go to sleep so they can take care of me tomorrow. She was always nice to me. She kept me in check and made sure I didn't annoy my mom and Nan or wake them up. Sometimes she would even sing to me. I was always in my own little world when she was talking to me, like she demanded all of my attention. My mom confirms that I used to tell her that I saw the woman with the red hair again last night. She was a bit freaked out, but she assumed it was my own imagination, and when I grew up and still visited my grandmother, I stopped seeing her. I lived with my grandma for a few months after my grandpa died, but nothing unusual happened. But at 16, I was doing my A-levels, and one time my mom came with me to the art A-level to make sure I didn't get lost finding the school it was going to be held in. There was this other girl who had been in my secondary school doing the exact same exam, and her father had driven her there. My mom and her dad recognized each other, and doing small talk, she was asking where they live. He told her that they live in the same village my grandma lived in, and my mom told him the specific block of flats as he lived very close. He told her that people say they see a woman with curly red hair there, and paranormal stuff happens frequently. The description matched the lady I used to see as a kid, so that really freaked me out for a while. Case notes, file number 135. It isn't always that a lost soul remains pure and kind of heart after they pass away. Strikes me as her being lonely, but not wanting to cause harm, just wanting a bit of human connection, and offered you kind words hoping you wouldn't get scared. This is honestly touching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and you may as well start a binge session now. I have so many more stories on my channel.